Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ms. Bridenstine, for being here. While many of us here today have focused on the Artemis program and our return to the moon, I'd like to go back a little bit further and talk about the Apollo program, our first mission to the moon. Every NASA mission relies on a team of scientists, engineers, and others to design, manufacture, and verify that these spacecraft can indeed reach their intended target. You can't just point a rocket into the sky and light a fuse. You have to verify that your trajectory reaches your destination and validate through complex calculations that it will work. In the 1960s, those were done by hand, and for our most important flights, it was Katherine Johnson, a West Virginia native, that did those. Today, we use software to make those calculations. NASA's independent verification and validation facility in Fairmont, West Virginia, bears her name and proudly carries on the tradition by ensuring that this software is safe, reliable, and can be trusted to ensure our missions are completed and get home safely. And I'm pleased that you have committed to utilizing IV&V for our return to the moon. However, this is an incredibly complex, expensive mission, and yet IV&V's total budget is just $39 million for next year. Just like its namesake, Katherine Johnson once validated IBM's work on the Apollo program, it is critical that IV&V has the funding to maintain its independent analysis of these programs. So can you commit to providing the funding and workforce necessary for the IV and the V to do the critical job and ensure that we return safely to the moon?
Yes, sir. The Katherine Johnson IV&V facility in West Virginia is absolutely critically important to NASA's mission, and it's necessary to keep our astronauts safe.
The budget process, you
say
feel
again?
confident? Do you feel confident you'll have the necessary budget to do it?
Yes, sir, I do. I think the IV&V facility is well resourced now, and of course, the budget request that we have before the House and the Senate, I think, is a strong budget request for the requirements that we have for the Orion crew capsule, for example.
Do you remember that? What is that amount that you're asking for there?
I think you said it was in the $39 million range.
39.1.
39.1.
Okay. Located just down the road from the Katherine Johnson's IV&V facility, the West Virginia Robotics Technology Center has been the lead academic partner for NASA's Restore-L satellite servicing mission since 2009. Last year, NASA made a decision to combine the Restore-L satellite servicing mission with a space infrastructure dexterous robot Spider, which will demonstrate manufacturing assembly of a communications antenna in space. Both of these programs will be launched on board the On-Orbit Servicing Assembly and Manufacturing OSAM-1 spacecraft. I applaud NASA and its industry partners like Maxar for thinking outside the box to achieve cost savings and ensure these critical programs move forward. NASA's goal of returning to the moon and beyond will require the continued development of robotics technology like this and a workforce to support these endeavors. Can you tell me how that program is progressing?
Yes, sir. So the OSAM mission, a number of the instruments and robotics have gone through critical design review. Others are still in front of us, but that overall mission is progressing very well. We're very grateful to the West Virginia Robotic Institute. We're also very grateful to the Goddard Space Flight Center for the great work being done on the OSAM mission. I will tell you that our goal as an agency is to not only be able to do this as a technology demonstrator, but we see a day in the future where satellites in low Earth orbit and even geostationary orbit eventually can not only be serviced but maintained. So refueled, and of course maintenance can be done robotically. That future, of course, right now it's NASA developing the capabilities and the technologies, but the future that we see is that those technologies will be commercialized. And we could see a day in the future where there would be dozens of satellites in low Earth orbit operated by numerous companies that are with a profit motive ultimately to service and do maintenance on satellites in orbit, which would be a huge cost benefit to satellite operators and even prevent orbital debris from, when these satellites come to the end of their lives, they become orbital debris in many cases. So
was the current budget, your current budget of $227 million, is that going to be sufficient to launch on track for 2023?
I believe it is, sir. It is. We are committed to that mission, as you know.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.